Hey lovelies, it's Kate. Welcome back to another video, another Sims 4 speed build, and it's time to build in Sulani. This is the 50 by 50 oceanfront lot. It's just wonderful. I love Sulani. I love this lot. We have a lot of space. When I built the eco ship recently, a lot of you were telling me that I should build something similar in Sulani, and I mean I didn't because this is just a mansion, but I was inspired to actually build in Sulani again after reading all your comments, and I also felt like building another mansion because it's been a hot minute. Like, I've been creating all kinds of different builds and things, but it's time for a proper mansion again. But this is not your regular mansion. It's like a small island on this lot, and I started off with building this area over here. I used some doorways. These are from Jungle Adventure, and I rotated them using tool. I also used the tool mod to lower them into the floor because they were like pretty high, and I just wanted to have some type of fence. So I was inspired by the buildings that you can see in Portofino, Italy. I just wanted to have this vibe, and the cool thing is I used so much orange for this build. You can already tell that I'm doing that here when you look at the doorways and this exterior trim and all that. And because of the orange, the build really pops because this is Sulani, so we have the ocean in the background, and the ocean is of course blue, and so is the sky, so you have a really nice contrast color-wise, and the orange just makes it look like summer and so beautiful. I also used so many plants. I think I kind of inspired myself because of my last build. I used so many plants. It was like a overgrown cottage, and here I also used so many plants. It's really, really colorful and bright. And I have a really hard time doing this. I really like to use really neutral colors, lots of whites. I just like to stay in this kind of color scheme, you know this. But here I just really wanted to step out of my comfort zone by using really bright colors. Also, when it came to the plants, this bush on the left side, the pink one, is from Island Living. You can find it in the debug menu, and I used this one a lot. So this is kind of my main color scheme. I have lots of oranges and pinks and purples, so it's like really bright. It's really poppin'. You can already tell here that it's like really colorful and happy, and I just worked on this lot section by section. I really like to do this, as you know, so I just expanded the build over time, and I was kind of afraid that I would run into a couple of problems because of the height limit. And in Sulani, it's always a bit more difficult to work on builds, in my opinion, because you can't use the terrain tools. It's all a bit tricky. You can't build any pools on the ground because this is like a limit on these oceanfront lots. They didn't allow us to use terrain tools. You can't even place a floor tile, like just a floor on the sand. So you really have to just plan builds ahead, I feel like. Here I'm using some core builds to create this look, and here at this point I was pretty sold on this build. Like, sometimes I start to build on something and I'm like, okay, I'm going to bulldoze this. I don't like this. But as soon as I added the core builds, I liked the whole vibe, and I think I just had to add a bit of wood color-wise because the orange is like pretty crazy. There's a lot of stuff going on, and as I said, stepped out of my comfort zone color-wise, but after I added a bit of wood, it looked more softer. It kind of, I don't know, just kind of softened down the whole orange situation, and at this point I really liked the build and I decided to keep going. It remotely reminds me of the Santorini build that I've created. I mean, completely different style and color palette, but just the idea of having like a really tall building almost sitting on a mountain in Sulani, it just kind of reminds me of this build. And the most exciting thing is actually that you can't use terrain tools in Sulani, because before we got the terrain tools update, you generally had to be really creative to create the illusion of terrain, and I always enjoyed doing this by building rooms at the bottom. Then I used lots of debug rocks to hide the rooms, or even the regular base game rocks, and this way I tried to create the illusion of terrain. And then we got the terrain tool update, and of course we didn't have to do this. Like, now we can just raise the terrain, but on these lots here, you still can't do these on these waterfront lots. So you have to use the good old tricks that we all had to use before the terrain tools. And I kind of like this. This is kind of giving me flashbacks to the old days of building. And I think it's a nice challenge. It's always fun to have a little building challenge. So I really enjoyed that I just had to build this without using any terrain. And I think it still looks as if it's kind of sitting on a mountain or something, or on a cliff. But I wasn't even going for this look. But I added some huge I don't live in the back rocks. And this kind of creates the illusion, in my opinion. Even though I wasn't even going for this hard. I was just adding more stuff and it just happened. And these like vines that I placed on top of the roof. These are from Jungle Adventure, I think. Or Outdoor Retreat. No, I'm not sure, but it's one of those packs. I don't know. And as I always tell, take a look at the debug menu. You will find the most amazing things in there. And I decided to create a tower. And here I was creating a really fancy roof by accident. I think I forgot that there was a diagonal platform piece, a square one, so I used the triangular one. I generally like to use the triangular one because we don't have a platform tool the way we have a room tool, which would be super convenient. I've said this a couple of times. So by accident, I just created this look, and I have all these triangles on top of this tower. They all have a different height. And at first I wanted to keep it this way, but then I figured it just looks too boring. So I changed up the roofing completely. But this might be a fun idea for a really simple yet creative roofing. And then I just added more and more plants. So for me, this build was all about the color and the plants. I used a lot of them. I also used the tool mod a lot, but mostly just to bring stuff into the correct position. I also created some fancy stairs that I'm going to talk about later. So I used the mod a lot, but as always, the little disclaimer, you don't need the mod to download this build. So this is the cool thing about the tool mod. Stuff is still CC free and unmodded. It does not get detected in the gallery and everything is still in place. This is why I'm using this, because all my builds are CC free and I can use the tool mod and the builds are still unmodded and CC free, and you can just place it. And if you have no idea about the tool mod, it's by Twisted Maxi. You can use it to rotate objects, you can take objects off lot. So this is just, it's the most amazing mod ever. I'm going to link it in the description box, and Twisted Maxi has just created one of the most amazing mods ever for The Sims 4, and you should check it out if you are into building in The Sims 4, and if you feel like the regular build mode just isn't cutting it anymore for you because you want more possibilities, just more options, you just want to rotate something, you want to really unleash your creativity in The Sims 4 build mode, then the tool mod might be for you, because it's definitely giving you more stuff to do, more stuff to create. I don't know, it's just amazing. So I can highly recommend you check it out. It's just wonderful. So I just had to mention this. I feel like I haven't mentioned this in a while. I always talk about tool, but I felt like it was time for another disclaimer and for praising the tool mod, because you should just check it out if you haven't yet. It's wonderful. So thank you to Twisted Maxi for creating this wonderful mod. It's game changing. Like literally, it's really, really game changing. I also wanted to create some open doors, and for this I used some base game shutters and then I rotated them using tool. If you want to do this, it's important to just place them in front of the wall, just so you have like a distance between your shutter and the wall, because then you can rotate it. And I would recommend to use the gravity pull feature or option to pull the rotated shutter towards the wall, because the problem is when you pick it up and when you just place it near a wall, it's going to snap to the wall. The same happens when you use a regular window. Technically the shutter is a window, it just looks like a shutter, but it's behaving and acting like a window. It is technically a window, so this is what you have to keep in mind. So I just wanted to create this look. And then this here, this is some type of trellis. This is a base game object and I placed it on top of the roof. And this was added in a base game update, and I figured it looks perfect because I used all these Jungle Adventure plants, these vines on different walls, and the same plants are used in this object, even though it's base game. I don't know if they kind of recycled this object, but the swatches, like the color is identical and also the look, and it looks wonderful. So these two objects like the jungle adventure vines and the space game object here, they just go together perfectly. And I figured it's just a simple way to make this build look more interesting. And then I wanted to have an area where your Sims could just sunbase and hang out, and this is why I created this really long rectangular floor piece. So this is supposed to be like some type of deck where your Sims can just hang out and chill in the sun. I had a really hard time decorating this object though. I felt like it was kind of sticking out in a weird way, even though this was what I was going for. But I didn't like that it was so high up, which is why I eventually ended up placing some debug rocks below, just so it doesn't look so high up. I don't know, but something was just bugging me about this deck. But I still left it this way because I thought it would be so cool to just hang out above the ocean, and I just left it this way. At first I wanted to create another one at the very bottom, just right above the ocean, but then I didn't do that because I figured one deck is enough. And then I moved on to work on some curved stairs. And for these stairs, I used this base game debug object and I rotated it using tool. I had used the same object for the stairs in my castle build that I created recently. So as you can see here, I just rotated each object a little bit using tool, I think about 10 degrees, and then I just placed each individual object. And the cool thing is that this object doesn't have a footprint, so the stairs below, the real actual stairs, are still functional. And I want to give a little shout out to my good friend Sadie, because she created the same stairs essentially in her desert build. So she was the first one who created stairs using this object. She's such a queen, such a huge inspiration for me, and she said that I'm keeping her sane when she's building something, and I feel the same, because whenever we are working on builds, we always send each other like progress pics and we always motivate each other, and she's always keeping me sane. I have no idea what I would do without her. Like, I mean, I love building, but everyone who's creating content, who's building constantly, there's always a point where you're just, oh my god, what am I doing? I just love her so much, and I appreciate her friendship so much, and she's such a huge inspiration. And yeah, she's like the OG creator of these stairs, so shout out to Sadie, and I'm going to link her channel down below. Of course, you have to check her out if you haven't yet. She's the best. She's just amazing. I look up to her so much, and she's just such a great friend. And please check out the description box and head over to her channel after this video. You have to. So here I'm adding all these debug rocks from Island Living, and I decided to just use one type of rock. I said this before, I think it's really good when you just pick one rock because you have one color. I think it looks really weird when you have lots of different rock colors. I mean, you can make it work, but generally when you want to use lots of rocks for landscaping, it can look super weird when you have like a certain gray color and then in between there's a black rock and then a beige rock. I don't know, I think it can look weird, and I don't want the landscaping to look too busy, and the whole build is already super busy. There's so much going on, so I decided to just use these amazing Island Living debug rocks. I don't know if I've ever used them before. They have a really distinct look. They have this rounded shape, and I think they're different from any other debug rock in this game. And here I'm using a little trick that I've used for my eco ship. I'm placing lots of windows, and then I'm selecting them using tool, and then I scale them down to like 0.001 or something, so they are scaled down so much that they are basically invisible. Even though they are still there, they're just so tiny that you can't see them, and this way you make the frame disappear and you have one huge glass pane. The thing is, I don't know why, you can see some small shadows where the frame was, so it's not like a one pristine perfect glass pane in this case, and I have no idea why this is happening, if it's the lot or the window that I've used, but it worked like really perfectly fine for the eco ship. Something is different here, I don't know what, but it's barely visible, so I kept it this way because I think it looks super cute still, and I just wanted to have this look because, I mean, you have a building right over the ocean, so you of course want to enjoy the ocean view. So I wanted to have like this type of window, at least in one area of the build. And then I started to furnish this. So at some point I felt like this house looks really Mediterranean. As I said, I was inspired by architecture in Portofino, Italy. So it made sense to also make it look a bit Mediterranean on the inside. I still wanted to have some Sulani influence, which is why I'm going to use some Sulani objects, especially for the bedrooms. I don't know if I've mentioned it yet, but there are 5 bedrooms in total. So there's lots of space for a sim family. And so this is like a family mansion kind of, which is kind of my thing, as you know by now. So here on this floor, I didn't add a bathroom. I kind of forgot, and then there wasn't enough space. So this is not really there's not a lot of space on this level in general. The level below is really big. And this is where I'm going to build all the bedrooms, and I also added multiple bathrooms down there because I just had so much space there. And I really like decorating this space here because it's not that big and it can be fun to clutter a smaller space. So for a mansion, it's not really spacious on the interior. And I try to add lots of detail here and there. The kitchen is also a bit different and I wasn't sure how to pull it off at first. Then I noticed that I have this nook over there with all these windows, and it's just perfect to add a dining table over there, in my opinion. I love this. Like sometimes when you look at a floor plan, like even I realize some houses just have a nook like this and it just screams dining table. So I had to use this area for the dining table. I also rotated a painting using tool, which is something that you could always do if it works for painting, like, I don't know, especially some modern abstract paintings, you could always rotate them to make them look different. And I just wanted to fill this area. I didn't have enough space for a horizontal painting, so I just rotated it. And then I started to work on the kitchen. These counters are from Realm of Magic. They look super rustic and kind of Mediterranean. And then I wanted to have a half wall. Then I wanted to have a fence. I wanted to have a spandrel. I tried to hide the half wall using this dine out object. Then I didn't like the half wall. Then I noticed that this isn't adding up because I wanted to have the counters directly behind my fence, and this was like a whole journey. And then I noticed that the stove is looking weird from behind, and I went back to adding these dine out wall decorations. This was confusing, but I think it, like, the hard work paid off. I mean, not hard work, but like just messing around with this whole area, because I think it turned out pretty cute. It looks really unique. I like that it's like separated from the rest of the room, you could say, because it's literally just one open room. It's like a open living area once again. You know that I love this, but it's still kind of separated, and the spandrel just looks cute, and I think it works. And then I added this more modern sofa. I just wanted to incorporate a bit of white, and this one is from Discover University. And then on the level above, I'm going to build another living room later where I also added a TV. So this is just an area to sit. There's no TV. At first I wanted to remove one of the doorways to add a TV, but then I thought, nah, it's looking so cool. We have all these doorways, it's symmetrical, I'm not going to remove it. And this down here is the area where I'm building all the bedrooms and the bathrooms. So this down here is where the magic happens. This is like the area where I created enough space for lots of Sims in this house. The floor plan is indeed a bit unique, I think. Like, it's really different from other builds. I like to keep it traditional most of the time. So I have my, like, the living area, and then on the floor above we have all the bedrooms, but here they're kind of down there. And I think it works because I have so much space. This is like the whole area below the building that you saw from the outside. So I just had so much space because it just got slimmer and slimmer at the top because of the whole layout and the towers. So I just had a lot of space down here. And then I tried to be a bit creative using some curtains. I used a combination of some base game curtains and the paranormal stuff pack curtains. I also used the same dine out object again that I used in the kitchen to hide the stove. And here I just wanted to have a really bright room using lots of white, but also some darker wooden colors, so it looks rustic. I also used some Sulani objects. So as I said, I wanted to have a combination of a really typical Mediterranean interior and some Sulani vibes because it's really tropical, and I built this in a tropical world. Sulani is still one of my favorite worlds. It's just so beautiful. Also, I don't know if you've heard this, but soon we are supposed to get some type of roadmap for the summer. So there seems to be some content coming out soon in the summer at some point. There is also a leak. The Microsoft store leaked this apparently, which is pretty funny in my opinion. They leaked the next kit, which is Moroccan, and it looks so beautiful. I tried to build a house like this in this style, some type of Moroccan mansion. I think this was before I started YouTube, and it just didn't work out so well. It was really hard for me to nail the style back then, but now we got all these new objects and doorways. Like, I don't know, you can find it on Twitter, like the Sims community posted about this also on their website. So beautiful. I can't wait for the next kit, and I also can't wait for the roadmap because I need another game pack or an expansion pack. An expansion pack would be the best, of course. I just need a new world. I don't know, I just think we just need some hype for The Sims again. We just need something new, really exciting. I just want a huge expansion pack. I just can't wait. So yeah, we will soon see what the roadmap is. Like, this is official, so EA, I think Simgo Frost said this, that there is a roadmap coming soon, and I also think that the whole kit leak is legit because the Microsoft store leaked it, as I said. And I think they then even officially posted about this. I think they kind of reacted. I mean, the official Sims account was like, oops. So I think it's definitely legit, and I just can't wait for the next kit. I know that not everyone enjoys kits, but I think it's just, I don't know, just the style, just like the country kitchen kit. I didn't get the Cas one where we got some new clothes. It just doesn't make a lot of sense to me because I'm not playing personally, I'm just building. But when it comes to build by content, you just know I can't help it. And I will tell you my honest review when it comes out. I will get it, I will take a look at it, and I will let you know what's going on, so you can just, I don't know, make a decision if you like it or not. And this is it. Thank you so much for watching. I hope that you liked this build. It's available in the gallery. My ID is KateEmerald, but you can always find all the information down below in the description box. The tray files are available on my Patreon. And speaking of which, it's time to thank my wonderful Emerald Patreons. Thank you to Britta1607, Charlotte, Callan Renee, Molly, Queen Ewing, Shannon McClam, Sim Sadie, Talena Lynn, and Victoria Smithies. Thank you so much for your support. It means the world to me. And thank you to all of you, to all my Patreons, to anyone who watches my videos, who likes my videos, who just supports me in any way. I equally appreciate your support, and all of you mean the world to me. I just love my community. You are all the best. And yeah, thank you so much for watching. I hope you have a perfect day. I hope you are doing well. Stay safe out there. And I hope I see you in the next video. Bye bye.